All right. Call the Fire Station Building Committee meeting to order. It's Wednesday, June 26th. Time is 4:30 p.m. This meeting is being held virtually and will be posted as soon as possible. Roll call, please.
Joe Ulick,
Present.
Jeff Matthews,
Present.
Mike Langevin,
Present.
Dave Langevin,
Present.
Mike Julian,
Present.
John Sugden, present.
All right. Approval of the minutes from the June 7th meeting. Is there any errors, corrections, or omissions that need to be done?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Update on the closeout of the Snow Street properties. I know Jennifer was on vacation and she was not available. I said that Michael was going to be on. Rick, I know that we have the application for payment and we're holding back $3,500. It looks like. What specifically are we waiting for? Your mic's off.
I'm sorry. More administrative than anything else, confirmation. And I've got to double check and see if they actually have removed the erosion control yet, or if you want to leave it in place. The plans and specs called for it for the erosion control to be removed after the area establishes itself. But it may make sense just to leave it at that. I guess it's kind of your call. And then there was a couple of modifications KBA was looking for on the as-built drawings. The payment application came in at the last minute. KBA was recommending holding off. I got it when you got it.
Rick, if I can stop you for 1 second, it sounds like either your air conditioning is right by your microphone or the window is open, because all we can hear is wind.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's pretty normal. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
No, I think we were just, you said that you were holding back the 3,500 because of the erosion control. I'm going to cut in there. I believe, Mike, Julian, you wanted that to stay in place, correct?
I do. I don't want it removed.
Okay. All right. So erosion control to stay in place. And then what was anything else that was still pending?
There was a couple of, a bit of information that we were looking for on the as-built documentation that KBA had asked for. I got the list from KBA earlier today, and I've been traveling all day, so I haven't been able to digest it. But my theory would be, you could approve, you could approve the whole invoice, and then we'll just wait for everything to come in and then sign off on the payment application, rather than reducing it by $3,500. The total application was $13,000 and change. So to me, it would make more sense just to approve the whole thing and then hold it till we sign, give you sign off on those last couple of items that T's are crossed and I's are dotted.
Okay. All right. That's
and we did negotiate that credit for the DPW equipment use, and that is reflected in the payment application as well. I think that was $1,400.
1,040.
1,040. Okay.
And just to give the background on that, Rick, myself, and the DPW operations manager met with Alex, and I can't remember the other guy's name who was the project manager on the site. And we had some back and forth discussion, and we ended up agreeing upon all of the trucking time and the time of the operator when there was a no-show on the following Monday. So it worked out to a little over $1,000 worth of time, and everybody walked away satisfied with that. All right. Anything else on the closeout for Snow Street? No.
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Uh,
Anything on budget that we have to update at this point?
No, I just on that grant, I had sent you off my recommendations for that grant application, but I don't know where that ended up.
Yeah, I'm still trying to have some conversations. I'll get to that in the next couple of things. Site soil classification. We don't have anything else on that at this point.
No, I think we're ready to go. And once we KVA can put the finishing touches on that, the only area that we kind of wanted to finalize would be if there were any locations in town where the material could go. And I know that one landfill we didn't want to get involved with that. I didn't know. I thought that there may be another area that was being researched.
So at this point, it looks like there is a local contractor that has a piece of property that he would be willing to. We would just have to have a discussion with yourself and probably Jennifer to look at that in the construction documents, or whether or not we have to put out a separate RFQ for that material to make it available to all, essentially. But it looks like that there would be a potential local option for that material.
That's interesting. An RFQ could go very quickly, and I've never. That would be a disposition of material, and that could be done under Chapter 30B. Let me look into that. I that's an interesting concept. I hadn't even considered. I like that. What we would do is we would identify the quantity. We would identify the test results for it. Then we could put it out in a very quick. I think it has to be out on the street for 30 days, and then this person can respond, and anybody else that may have the availability for to take it.
Yep.
Okay, I like that.
All right. And then moving on to the USDA rural development part, where we are with that right now is essentially, even though the federal government has authorized this funding for us, it is essentially a full grant application that I'm putting in for this. I have had some offline conversations with Michael and a couple of email conversations with Rick. I am a little overwhelmed with some of the environmental stuff. Essentially, I've opened a project on what they call IPAC, which is part of the Fish and Wildlife, where we do have to determine what endangered species and migratory birds and all the other things that go along with this. Because these funds will be applied to construction, we do fall under all these new rules. And I believe that we will need to get some information from Ty and Bond in some of the environmental reporting that's already been done. And I'm trying to get somebody from Fish and Wildlife on the phone to answer a couple of questions, because I don't want to trigger something by an incorrect answer and have 25 biologists wandering around our property. So I'm trying to preemptively get some information from that. So it is an extensive package that has to go together. I do have a good majority of it put together, but I'm running into some roadblocks with that. So that's where I am with that. Update on funding sources for the fire station project. Today I was at FCAM, and they brought up House Bill 4789, which is essentially a housing bill, but there were some funds that were essentially earmarks that were thrown into that for funding fire station construction for some reason. And initially, they told me that we were on it. I did find an amendment for it that John Marcy, our new representative from the 6th District of Worcester, he put an amendment for $4 million into it. but I spoke with the chief when I came back from the meeting, and he has talked with John Marcy today, and he had to rescind that because he got some pressure somewhere on that bill, but it is submitted through an economic development project that does not have a bill assignment yet. So he is putting in $4 million in state money for us, but when that would happen, we have no idea at this point. But it's at least intriguing that he's stepping up to the plate for us. Yes,
Jimmy,
John.
That was House Bill 87.
4789.
470. Thank you.
Yep. But like I said, he did have to rescind that because of some pressure, something along those lines. So it's going under something that has not been assigned to bill number yet. All right. Next item: discuss the potential rebidding of the project and contractor pre-qualification process. So this actually, going back to the last item, the town council did authorize $1 million in free cash. I apologize, I forgot. It was very important. They did authorize $1 million in free cash towards the project. It's going to be added as needed, but the money was set aside for the project. So if you do the rough numbers of what we've spent, essentially, we're just under $5 million. So we have about just under 21, and then we have the 1.9 from the federal government, and then they're adding another $1 million. So we're in the 23.5, just under 24 million range where we would sit at this point. Obviously, there's some still other things that would be outstanding, but at least we have funding to secure a contract with a contractor. So at this point, opening the discussion with Rick, we've already talked about a timeline. I think now that we have the free cash authorized and we know that the money is coming from the USDA at some point, I think we are in a position where we could rebid at this point. And I'll open it up for discussion there. Rick?
If we start the pre-qualification process, we talked about it last meeting, we could be ready to name the pre-qualified contractors and start bidding in 2 months. So if we can cut that time down, we will, but that would mean, September starting to bid, which is not a bad time of year to start.
Right.
Okay. Is there any other indications? Have any other projects come in lately, comparable or not?
I'll check with KBA to see if they have anything that's come in recently. And I'll check with both estimators. I think I said that last meeting too. So let me step that up and see where everybody's at.
Well, we don't have any recent bids in Massachusetts, but I have heard informally that things are coming in close to estimate, for whatever that means.
Okay. Captain Matthew?
Knowing after what happened last time, to you, Rick, does it sound like we may get more than 2 bidders this time, or do you think that's still up in the air?
That's hard to say. The last bid we had was not specifically building related, but more coastal. We had 7 bidders. I think we were kind of in a really bad scenario last fall. I think with the clarifications on the soils, that'll help. And I would hope to think that we would have more than 2 bidders, but it's not something I can value or, make a guess at. I'd say get this out, get it pre-qualified, and start drumming up the level of interest.
At least, even if there has to be another delay because the money hasn't arrived, the bids, the pre-qualifications are good for how long, Rick?
They're good for, I think they had said 4 to 6 months, 4
Yeah,
months.
that's
I
what
want to say it was 120 days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, 4 months.
So if we start the process
yeah,
now, we should be okay.
Deb, it's the
I'm-
chief.
I'm
I
ac-
just
I'm
have a
actually
question
excited.
about
I'm-
pre-calls.
Chief, go ahead.
Is there any way to expedite or speed up or do pre-quals a different way than having the captain go through each and every other line item, and it was very tedious, and we don't know if we're going to get more bidders this time, so there'll be more pre-qual to do.
So we have had that conversation over the last couple of meetings. There is a process. Essentially, the timeline does not change, but the workload changes. I think we would entertain that process at this point. It essentially adds about $5,000 to it. And I forget the name of the company, but they would actually be the ones doing the follow-up and making the phone calls and everything. But we would still end up reviewing the material, and the process does not change. It does not change the timeline. It just takes some of the workload off.
Yeah, I can get a little bit more descriptive on that too. all of the material, because it's being handled electronically through its biddocs.com, all of the material is assembled and in the correct categories and locations for review. So the review period is cut down drastically. Plus, the biddocs.com does all of the reference checks. So it's just basically, and they'll do a review of the material as well with where they think things fall. But we still have to review the material just to confirm. It does speed up the process. I should say cut down on the time.
Okay. John, you had something?
I'm all set.
Okay. All right. So Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, are you looking for a motion for that?
Yes.
I'd like to make that a motion that we do that, whatever you called it, that $5,000 to make a lot of people's life easier and quicker. I think it benefits the project and it's easier for people to bid on. So I'd like to make that a motion.
All right. So I would just look to broaden the discussion part of it a little bit more. The actual, from what we went over with at the last meeting, the estimate of $5,000 was for the biddocs.com. The whole pre-qualification process is estimated at about $10,000 because essentially KBA and Pomeroy Associates have already done the pre-qualification once, and this would be additional man hours that were not in the original scope of everybody's project. So I believe the rough estimate that was provided at the last meeting was in the ballpark of $10,000 of what it is. The $5,000 was specifically for the bid docs. So if your motion would be to start the re-qualification project of the contractors with the electronic process of a contract of an electronic vendor.
Yes, I make that into a form of a motion.
I'd second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Rick, just as far as the procurement part of it, would we have to seek bids from multiple companies for that?
I don't think so. The way I had put it in that email to you was that we can contact with bid docs to keep things simple.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'd like to have a roll call vote on the motion.
Joe Ulick,
Yes.
Jeff Matthews,
Yes.
John Schuster, yes. Mike Langevin,
Yes.
Dave Langevin,
Yes.
and Mike Julian,
Yes.
all in favor.
Okay, so
All right.
what we'll do is we'll put the schedule together and we'll get the notifications going with the Central Register and combis and local newspapers, and I'll send that around. It'll be we won't be able to get it in before tomorrow, but we can. The deadline runs Thursday to Thursday, so we can get it in for next Thursday's publication
Okay.
and get things started.
Is anybody even going to see it before the holiday, though?
It's the posting deadline. It would come out the following Wednesday, so it'll be posted
Okay.
next Thursday, and then it'll come out the following Wednesday, right after the holiday, right when everyone's starting to wake up. So
Okay. Captain Matthew?
I know the last time we did pre-qualifications, we sat down with you, Rick, just to kind of go through the process a little bit. I know this is going to streamline it. It sounds like it's going to be easier. Is it pretty self-explanatory, or do we need to sit down ahead of time to kind of go over the process?
I'll send you an example so you can see from a previous project. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The documents, it's not going to take much to modify the documents. We're going to use the same criteria and all. So I think it'll be pretty self-explanatory. But if you feel that we need to get together, we can also set up a tutorial on Zoom where everyone actually goes on bid docs and we do a tutorial with them. So
And just for clarification, you need 3 of us, correct?
yes.
All right. Unless there's others that step forward, I think I've had some quick conversations at this point that it would be myself, Captain Matthew, and Mike Julian. Is there anybody else that's willing to do it?
Joe, I can help this time. I wasn't feeling really well last time. The only thing is, I would need a spot for you guys if you could set me up with a computer and I can just go, whether it's the station or whatever, and, help you out on that.
Okay.
I have no problem doing that, and I could just do a follow-up with Jeff a little, and we'd be on our way after that.
Okay. Rick, would it work if we did Dave, Mike, and the captain, and then put me on as like an alternate just in case?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do that.
And then we'll need KBA and Pomeroy as well. So
Right.
Okay.
I'll get it
All right.
started and I'll send around an update.
All right. Anything else that we need to do with that at this point in time?
No, I don't think so.
All right. If there's nothing else with that, review and approve any invoice. I have one application for payment. So Rick, just to clarify the numbers, what I see on here was current payment due $10,269.50, and then the 3,500. They were looking at that, which put it at 6,769.50. So if we were going to do the whole thing, it's $10,269.50.
Yes. Michael, I think Michael McKeon had come on after that discussion. My suggestion would be that have the committee approve the entire amount. I'll send a clean version, or Michael, maybe between you and I, we can do a clean version, but we won't have the check cut until all of the closeout documents is done.
Okay, that's
then
fine
we
with
don't
us.
have to. Okay.
It's fine. It's just that they haven't responded at all to the request that Brendan sent them for these closeout documents.
I get the feeling Alex may have been away because he hasn't been responding to me lately, but he did today. So I'm thinking he may have been away.
He knows his check.
Yeah, could be.
Tell him to read his emails.
All right, so moving forward with the whole application for payment, it would be $10,269.50, and this is application for payment number 3 for Costello dismantling. So I'd be looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion for application of payment number 3, Costello dismantling, in the amount of $10,269.50?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just for the record, the certified payroll is covered for this payment application in the last round that Taylor had reviewed with the folks down in the town hall. And the certified payroll that I have on record is through week ending June 4th. And the last time Costello worked on the job was the first week in April. So we're all clear on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey, Joe,
Yes.
I have one question. It pertains and wraps up. Do we have any more invoices out there after this besides the 5,000 that we just appropriated for? Is this it on bills for now?
The only other thing that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but I believe there was still $1,500, like another installment of Ty and Bond for their reporting. It was $1,555, and then to answer the rest of your question, Dave, like I said, essentially what we did was $10,000. But other than that, I do not know of any other invoices pending for the project.
The only thing, Mr. Chairman, the only thing would be the cost that was approved for the doing the soil management plan and the soil refinement and re-estimating that and all of that work. There hasn't been any invoices submitted on that. And that was primarily KBA's work.
Right.
Yeah,
Michael,
okay. I just wanted to see where we are now, really. And my whole thing is I don't want to keep on spending money until we start breaking ground now, as much as possible.
Yeah, no, at this point, this was the last of the larger bills. As far as the demolition project are concerned. I know that actually, Rick, and maybe we could have a conversation at some point tomorrow. We still have requisitions open with stuff from Costello from the Worcester Street project. Everything is paid as far as I know, but we still had recs open on our end, and we just wanted to make sure that we could close those out.
Okay, let me double check that. And tomorrow may be a difficult day, but Friday's a little bit better for me.
Okay.
But let me go through what I have for records. I didn't realize. Are you saying when you say open, are you saying that there's still an open payment due to them?
So we obviously when we set up a requisition with a vendor, we have it open for a certain amount of money that we anticipate it being. And speaking with our admin, there was one that we still had for Costello that was still open for like $30,000. But the Worcester Street project has been closed out for almost a year at this point. So
Yeah.
I can't anticipate anything else coming out of that. And I believe most of the original requisition that we set up for Yankee testing, that I think we set up a pretty significant rec, and that did not end up costing that much. So
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we kind of set them up with the hopes that they were going to be rolling right into construction. So I'll go through that too.
okay.
Yeah, I think we maybe we had $2,500 with Yankee.
All right.
I'll go through that.
All right. So any other discussion on the motion? I'd like to move the motion. All right, if there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call on the motion for the Costello invoice?
Joe Ulick,
Yes.
Jeff Matthews,
To go clean up.
Jeff,
Yes.
John Sugden, Mike Langevin,
Yes.
Dave Langevin,
Yes.
and Mike Julian.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right. Next scheduled meeting. I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks after the end of this week. Rick, do we need to do anything in that time frame? Chief, I see you with your hand up.
Deputy, I just, I should have said something in the, when you were talking about funding sources. I thought the town manager was going to be there today, but I think it's important that you as a committee, as a whole, as a committee, understand that there was some reverb talk again about private, public-private partnerships from some of our councilors here in town. Mr. Jovan sent off that information again to our legal department, and again, it came back with the same thing, saying a project like this, being a municipal funded project, falls under chapter 149 and 44A. So again, I know we did this with Michael McCall way back when, but just to refresh everybody's memory, there are people trying to say we can do it better and avoid prevailing wage, but our legal attorney again has said, no, we can't do it that way. We need to keep doing what we're doing. So just to fill you guys in.
Yeah, I did read that email as well from the attorney. It cited a case involving UMass in a project that they did with similar circumstances, and essentially the end result was the general court found that it was a
Violation.
still a public construction project, so it fell under 149. And that's what our legal counsel's determination is at this point.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, could I possibly get a copy of that letter?
Sure.
It will
Thank
cost
you.
you, Michael.
I gave it the office.
Many, many years. Thank you.
So going back to what I had posed to Rick, what are we thinking? Do we need to do something within the next 2 weeks, or?
I wouldn't think so.
I've got my marching orders.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to go the week of the 15th, which would put us at July 17th?
Can we do the week after that?
Yeah.
No, actually, no, the week of the 17th is good. Excuse me. Week of the 14th is good for me.
Okay. All right, so we'll go July 17th. Is there anything at this point that we anticipate having to do in person, or are we good to keep going virtual at this point?
I would stay virtual if we could.
All right. So virtual meeting, July 17th, 4:30 p.m. And a motion to adjourn, if there's nothing
Motion
else.
to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Joe, have a great vacation. Well earned.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Enjoy.